curbing of crime and terrorism. Well, that is not the case, let me assure you. If I have to refer to the sacrifices of KP police, Balochistan police particularly, and some remarkable work of Sindh and Punjab police too, let me confide here that I wish Sifat Ghayur would have been alive. He would have been my leader. I would have been his soldier. If a force has a role model like Sifat, is it poor? It's too rich. I hardly see an iconic figure like Sifat anywhere in any institution of this country. Yes, there are challenges. There are challenges, and let me share the challenges which I feel that during this small stint of mine, I've been approached by two former martyred families to the rank of DIGs, where they have not been treated according to what they deserve. So this is the kind of comradeship, this is the kind of institutional arrangement we have towards those families. One widow was asked to leave her property in which she was residing and was entitled to be there till the retirement of that date of that martyr officer. And I was not just pained but surprised that how a fellow colleague, maybe senior or junior, could even dare in terms of morality to ask a family to leave that property. Well, I had to do what I had to do, but I'm just reflecting that if this is happening to the family of a former DIG rank officers, think about the Sipahi Shabana who got martyred in Swat. Who knows where the husband and children of Shabana are? Even we know the name of Shabana. And how many Shabanas are there? It's just a count for us. 1, 2, 10,000, 2,000, I don't know. I honestly don't know. Counterterrorism, organized crime, I have always believed there are two noble professions who have been underinvested and mistreated in this country in particular, and that is nursing and police. And I've been constantly advocating this, that we need to rebrand them. And when we need to rebrand them, we want to put resource in that. First of all, we need to infuse confidence in them. First, we need to tell them who they are. The material resource would follow that. That reputation, that brand is more important. It is of utmost importance. That self-esteem, which is associated with doing any sort of work, any sort of job. The emotional and psychic part of the human being who gets invested in any profession. I should be loving my work and my job, whatever I do. I might be a sanitation worker, cleaning bathrooms, but I should do it with joy and commitment. And to me, the police force are the divine sanitation force who cleanse the dirt of society, the filth of society. They are the chosen one. They are one of the most noble one. They are the one who protects your children from any ill-intended harm who roams around in the streets and the circles of the society. How can they be mistreated and disrespected? Then there is another side of the story. And I don't want to embarrass anyone over here. We need to do a soul searching, yes, all of us. Can senior rank people become partners in human trafficking with the criminal gangs? So what sort of contribution it would bring to the larger image of that force? So on one hand, you have Malak Saad, Hamid Shakil, Sifat Ghayur, and you have a fellow contributor that way. I know there are people who criticize the military as an institution, and they give juxtapose like that too. But what about us? Aren't we a mix? Aren't we a bunch of good and bad people? So who will decide our identity has to be translated by whom? There is a huge debate about the human rights violation and in the manner the police force takes on terrorists particularly. I'm not talking about the political dissents and the rest of them. And there is a huge debate around there, and I see a lot of refined intellectuals who are quite accomplished in academic pursuits of their own. I'm not undermining that. But what I'm referring over here is that there is no gospel truth. If we take on the academic concepts of the West and try to apply it on our own population, probably at time it would be not that pragmatic. Is the population of United Kingdom or United States or let's say France or Spain is weaponized as my society is? Is anyone carrying anti-craft guns over there as a show of display and pomp and power? How many suicide bombers are there roaming around in the streets of Madrid or London or Paris? The living bombs. Somebody can just enter in and blow us, all of us. So what do? This is the challenge, and we have to respond. Do we really understand our own challenges? And then there is a discourse of the legal framework. Yes, legal framework is the product of last 2-3 centuries, post-Reformation Renaissance period. Exactly the medieval era has been transformed into the modern nation state with a journey of constitutionalism. Is it a gospel truth? Is it a dogma? Well, it is the counterproductive of and resistance to dogmas. So what do you do when a challenge happens or occurs to you? You take that challenge, the procedure is or supposes to be that you take it to the parliament, you deliberate it there, and you come up with a piece of legislation and have a new law. 90,000 people in this country have been killed. What sort of legislation we have done in these 2 decades? There's a talk of enforced disappearance. Yes. Has anyone has courage to peek into this issue? Has anyone taken it to the political parties that this is the issue? We need a piece of legislation either way. Why? I always refer it to, as a metaphor, my sons, I have a son by the name of Noor. If I have to send Noor to fight some nasty terrorist, what would I do? How would I equip him? I would want him to be better equipped in comparison to those nasty terrorists. And I want him to be equipped mentally also to take on that challenge. I wouldn't suggest him that, Noor, if they ask you or if they attack you, you better give me a WhatsApp call and ask me that, Baba, shall I respond to him or not? I want to give him that leeway, that independence, where he can be protected. I want him to win. So there are so many Noors sitting here. What do I do? What have I done? Have I strengthened them? Have I given them those legal tools? Forget about the rest of the resources. I'm a poor man representing a poor nation. I might not be having resources materially. What does it take to pass a piece of legislation? 1 hour? 2 hours? And whenever it is required and it is needed, what sort of legislations we do, all of us, we are witness to that. I don't want to disparage and embarrass anyone. We haven't done it. I am very much pained the way we have handled this entire anti-terrorism campaign. The lack of resources on the material account is altogether a different story. First of all, we are not, in my opinion, we are not clear. A man who is willing to be violent in this society is at times treated as an equal shareholder with the state who has got the monopoly on violence. Let's decide it once and for all. Is there any inherent right to any group? And by the way, we have enshrined it in Constitution also, these all constitutional, the lovers of constitutionalism, that no individual or a group can raise a violent militia. The 1973 Constitution of Pakistan clearly enunciates that. Someone is being argued as on the basis of a victim card. They, instead of policing, they start doing scholarships. Police is there to enforce law. I would still love to have a sort of a intellectual conversation with them, but when it comes to practicing, you can't fibble around with the confused ideas of how to handle this menace. On the behest of the state, there has to be clarity. If there is confusion, even if you are right with the state of confusion, you will falter, you will fail. And even if you have chosen a wrong position, but with a sense of clarity, it would lead you to success. So clarity is that important. My deep appreciation for this force. Our internal order, which is a constitutional order, and that order is sacrosanct. Any society cannot afford a chaos. As an historian once quite rightly described it, I don't want to be associated with controversial comments, but they once said that it is better to have few centuries of tyranny rather than few weeks of anarchy. So anarchy is unfathomable and unacceptable. And you are the one who are the custodian to protect us from that anticipated disorder. You are the front line. You are the main defense line. And when I say it's not just the leadership, from Sipahi to the general officer, all of it, there is a lack of comradeship. There is a lack of institutional bondage. I'm so happy to see at least this one association as that. I wish we could translate it more. If even you compare it with the institution of military, why can't police have some welfare programs? There are, but few. There are. I'm aware of those. But there are very few. I have all the respect and love for this force, and that's why I agreed to Kaleem Saab that inshallah I will come. I always try to think how we can improve the situation and the imagery. The most important thing is its imagery. And I know a few of you, the suggestions of your leadership, they change the uniform. Image doesn't change with the uniform. It changes with attitude. Let's wear shalwar kameez, doesn't matter. Let's wear a khaki or a blue or any color. It changes, but it changes with attitude. And I'm very proud that I have a lot of personal friends in this force with whom I have been enjoying a long life relationship. And they have been a source of inspiration, a learning to me in my personal capacity. I have learned a lot while having a very healthy conversation with many potent and accomplished police officers. And I see them as a beacon in the civil services of this country. But there needs to be happening more, doing more, contributing more. And in my humble capacity, whether here in this small stint of ours, or if I have any future role, maybe next time in the parliament or wherever I am, or as a political activist, I'm always available, whatever I can do to improve the services for the people and for the force. Thank you so much.
इस्लामाबाद में पुलिस के साबिक इंस्पेक्टर जनरल की 7वीं सालाना कॉन्फ्रेंस से निगरान वज़ीर आज़म अनवर काकड़ खिताब कर रहे थे। उन्होंने कहा कि पुलिस इंस्पेक्टर की मदद के लिए जो मुमकिन कोशिश होंगी हम करेंगे। हमें बहुत से चैलेंजेस दरपेश हैं, हम पुलिस डिपार्टमेंट के मकरूज़ हैं। मुलाजमत की नौयत जो भी हो, हमें फ़र्ज शनासी से काम लेना चाहिए। मुल्क में अमन के लिए सियासी जमातों को मिल बैठ कर कानून साजी करनी चाहिए।
अभी सब्सक्राइब करें ताकि कोई खबर रह न जाए।